Welcome, everybody, to another edition or episode of Anchors Away. I am Nate Karsner, of course, joined by Kevin Karsner, my dad, and we are back. If you watched last week's episode, or not last week, my goodness, a couple days ago, we did kind of revamped the layout, I guess you could say, and kind of changed some things around to I don't know, hopefully make it better and more enjoyable to watch. With that said, though, before we dive into these kind of more fun topics today, how are you doing? It's almost the end of the week, so that's always a plus.
Absolutely. Always a plus and doing well and staying dry. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it was down here was pretty stormy there. I believe it was yesterday, but overall good. I'm excited for the NFL to finally start, and we have real games. So that's always a positive and a nice thing. But let's get into this. So the first thing, of course, is we do have that new timer that we have created. So 5 minutes for each topic, a first, second, third, fourth quarter, as we have it titled. But really, they're topics and, of course, surrounding Seattle sports. So let me get the timer pulled up here as soon as we get this going. All right, 5 minutes for the first quarter. The Las Vegas Aces, kind of like we kind of thought would happen, did end up beating the Seattle Storm, and the Aces go on to advance to the finals, whereas Subbird's career is officially over at this point. So kind of what are your thoughts there with Subbird, obviously kind of becoming just a legend and an icon in Seattle sports?
Oh, we could almost say outside of Seattle sports too, especially with the NBA, WNBA. When now you can kind of go back and go, okay, Sue Bird, what has she done? Not only for Seattle, but what has she done overall? And just going back, she has proven to be a winner at every single freaking level.
Yeah.
High school, player of the year, goes to Connecticut, senior year, player of the year, Naismith Award winner, championships. She comes to the WNBA, gets voted to the top 25 women of all time in 2020. She's got four NBA champions. She's got like 5 gold Olympic medals. She's just a winner. Just totally. And what she's done for the sport, I think when she came in after Lauren Jackson and everything, I think he saw a total uptick in the type of play that was being seen in the WNBA right around that 2000 year, 2002 when she comes in.
Yeah.
2 years later, hey, we're champions. I mean, she's a fantastic leader.
Yeah.
So I just start to think, what's next for Sue Bird? I mean, she's worked with the Denver Nuggets in their front office, so you start thinking, well, general manager, maybe team owner. I could certainly see her being a coach just because of being from that guard position. She'd be able to teach some people, and she could, really relate with them. The world's the sky's the limit with her, and it'll be exciting to see what she does next, because she's definitely a leader, and I think she has some things to offer. Not only in the WNBA, but hey, she might end up in the NBA leading something. So yeah, just fantastic. But just consistency throughout. Yeah, when you think about it, she's been playing for like 3 decades or whatever.
Yeah,
so
it's 2002.
Wow. So 20 years, 3 different decades. So unbelievable.
Yeah, just kind of like you said, just to add on, just to how great she was. A 4-time champion for WNBA, the all-time assist leader, all-time leader in starts, all-time career games, 12-time All-Star, 5-time first team, 3-time second team, 3-time season assist leader, 2-time NCAA champion, named one of the 15 greatest players in the 15th anniversary, all-time Seattle field goal leader, number 1 overall pick. I mean, like you said, the list goes on and on. 6th player to win an NCAA championship, WNBA championship, and an Olympic gold medal. But I kind of like where you're going with coaching. I think that'd be a really interesting role for her. kind of like what Becky Harmon or Hammond did
Oh,
with the
yeah,
Aces. Starting with Popovich and the Spurs. I think that'd be a really, maybe not San Antonio, but just a
right.
really natural space and fit for Sue Bird to get in with some sort of NBA team, kind of learn the ropes there, and maybe transition to
Yeah,
WNBA. I think that blueprint would work really well for her.
I
And
do too.
like you said, I mean, she's done everything you can basically in
And
basketball.
around the world
And
too.
yeah,
I mean,
and looks like she won a EuroLeague title and a Russian Super League title on top of that. So pretty much anything you can win in women's basketball, she's done it.
she's done it. Yeah.
So really cool to see. Unfortunate ending to that career. Would have loved
Yeah.
to see her go out on top once again and get her fifth. But really, you can't complain for the career that she had. I think anyone would want to have that type of career.
Oh, oh, absolutely.
So really cool for her. As much as it sucks that they ended up losing, at least they kind of lost in Seattle, and she kind of had that going
Last
away.
kind
Like
of swan
everyone
song. Yeah.
was exactly. Good for them. It's cool for her, but end of the day, definitely one of those Seattle Mount Rushmore players. I would say,
Absolutely.
kind of up there with Griffey and some of those other guys, but
Absolutely.
definitely cool. But that is really going to wrap up our 5 minutes here with Sue Bird as we go to 3, 2, and 1 now. So we will go ahead and restart the timer, and we will jump over to the second quarter, where we are going to have a little bit of a good news. Well, half and half, as the Mariners did end up losing that game. But Luis Castillo starts the game off by throwing 7 strikeouts in a row. And I'm going to ask you, because we're going to bring a little bit back to the, what's it called? The trivia days. But do you know which other Mariners pitcher has 7 strikeouts in a row?
Oh, good question. Hmm. Is it an off one?
No, he's actually been a fun fact answer before.
Oh, okay. Freddie Garcia?
No, it's going to be before Garcia. It was back in 1984.
Okay. Um, 84. Boy, that's going back 7 years after the start. Who would they have had back then? Huh. No, he would have been later. Wouldn't have been like Langston. No. Um, I don't know. That's a great question.
All right. Well, you actually said it wouldn't have been him, and it was Mark Langston in 1984 to go for
Oh my
seven
gosh.
strikeouts in a
Oh my
row.
gosh. Well, at least it was in there.
Yep, you were there. You thought you said his name even, but you didn't say it was him. But
You're
can we
right.
just
Yeah.
talk about Luis Castillo for a moment? Because a lot of people, when that trade happened, said we overpaid for the guy, and well, in his 7 starts since we traded for him, he's had a 2.7 ERA, holding hitters to 2.26 average, 2.82 on base, and 3.52 slugging. If the Mariners end up going to the playoffs like they should at this point, I don't care that we traded away for 3 of our top 20 or so prospects for a playoff berth, and arguably the scariest 3-headed rotation in the playoff, at least the wild card, if not
Right.
the playoffs in whole.
Yeah. It's amazing listening to the national media right now. MLB Network, ESPN, any of the figureheads I've been listening to, they all say the same thing. No one wants to play the Mariners in the playoffs. No one. Because of their pitching.
Yeah.
And this doesn't, yesterday, we can kind of put that one in the bank for a little bit. But they've just been so consistent. And now we got Castillo. I mean, Robbie Ray is like firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we have Walter now. Walter Logan, I guess. Gilbert. He's fired up. And then who else but started out the week with George Kirby throwing 24 consecutive strikes?
I think he also had was that a record also?
That was a record, for the start of a game or something. But Castillo, no, we did not overpay.
No.
I'm sorry. Anybody who thinks we overpaid, we did not. We gave up prospects,
Yep.
prospects for proven commodity.
Proven
I
all-star
give up
pitcher.
prospects
Yep.
all day. Yeah. No, Jerry DePoto, think, put that one in the win column.
Yep.
And yeah, I fully figure they're going to be trying to get him signed, trying to lock him up.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, we traded prospects. You never know what's. I mean, look at Dustin Ackley from 2009. He was argued to be the most professional ready player. That was kind of that can't
Yeah.
miss, kind of like a certain 2009 Seahawk pick in Aaron Curry. But
Right.
you just never know what's going to
Right.
happen with those. Maybe they forbid, an injury or something. But when you're able to trade guys that are unknown at the major league level, and let's look at Jared Kelnick as an example, that he's not
Exactly.
turned out to what everyone thought he was going to be at this point. Hopefully that
Right.
changes, but to get another ace number one pitcher, all-star level pitcher for prospects, and not anyone that really hurt the major league team. And
Right.
if we can make the playoffs, I don't care if Noel V. Marte becomes the next MVP. We at least broke a 21-year playoff
Yeah.
drought, which at this point, that's all fans really care about, if we're being honest.
Exactly.
I would expect, him going into his, I believe, 29 or 30 season, probably about
Yeah.
Robbie Ray's deal, and I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
In that 4 to 5 year range, probably 115 to 130, depending on how he finishes the year and if he ends up winning a couple games in the playoffs. But these 5 minutes go fast, but that's the kind of the nice thing is it does keep us moving and keeps us going. And
Absolutely.
I would get a delay of game on this one. So we're gonna
Oh yeah,
restart
I would have
the.
been. Yeah, I'm guilty. Yeah.
We're gonna be restarting the timer, and let's jump to the third quarter as we go to the future part of our section. And week one of the NFL season is here,
Dum
and
dum dum dum.
Seattle Seahawks are gonna welcome in Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Let's go over some key matchups here right away for me. Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas going against Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory.
Yep.
I'm
Something I'm
gonna
looking for
Yep.
right off the bat too. Yep.
I'm
Right
going to
with you.
be really curious how Tarek Woolen does against Jerry Judy
Yes.
and kind of the Cortland Sutton. And then the final one, at least for me, is going to be Jordan Brooks versus Javonte Williams, both playing that running back and middle linebacker spot. This is going to be the first time Russ has to deal with the 12s as the opponent. He's obviously heard it for 10 years now at this point, but I think it's a totally different animal when you're the opposing quarterback. But what kind of your initial thoughts here welcoming Russ back into Seattle?
Oh yeah, no, totally. Funny you picked up on those things. I was definitely looking for the same thing: the offensive line
Yep.
versus Chubb and Gregory,
Yep.
right off the bat. The linebacker play of the Seahawks,
Yep.
versus plays in the middle.
Yes.
I'm really
Yep.
curious to see if we've gotten the middle figured out yet.
Yep.
Last year, just throw a seam and get your 15 yards on the Seahawks all last year.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they got that cleaned up. And with the speed of the linebackers, not to take anything away from Wagner or KJ Wright, but we got Brooks now who can fly around. I think Barton can fly around. So I think
also be Boy Mafe. I'm curious. He's
Boy
fast.
Mafe, yeah.
I'm curious what he does as well.
Exactly. So the other one that I'm surprised you didn't mention, especially on defense, is how do they incorporate Jamal Adams into the defense?
That's true.
Do they let him go wild, like he should be?
Yeah.
Release the guy and let him go play. Because really, when you think about it, we in that sense we have Kobe Bryant being that nickel corner.
Yep.
I think if he comes in, boom, you're releasing Adams to go wreak havoc on the quarterback.
Well, I think kind of the great thing that happened with the preseason is Josh Jones became legit.
Yes.
He really showed out, and I think it's going to give Seattle the versatility to go three safeties in the game and bring Jamal down into the box where, let's face it, that's where his natural position is. If he was 5 inches taller, he'd be an outside backer. He would not be a safety. So I think having him back there, Quandre roaming center field, a little bit like Earl Thomas back in the day. Hopefully they can get Jamal in the box. Let's get to that 9.5 sacks that we had in 2020. But definitely a good point to bring up. I am, like you said, up the middle, but just what is this defensive scheme going to look like
I,
The past 10
yeah.
years, really, maybe I'll say after Super Bowl 48, but it's always been this just non aggressive wait, let him march down the field to the 20-yard line and then we'll try and tighten things
Well,
up. And,
yeah.
and, and hopefully
We'll
it,
settle for a field
yeah,
goal. Whatever.
exactly. Like, I would really like to see, like, this year's it in all realness, if we're being completely not full of ourselves and fake, it's kind of a wash of a year. So
Oh yeah.
I'd really like to see, like, what can Daryl Taylor do if they let him just go?
Right.
What can Mafe do? Can he sprint out the, like, I would love to see the defense just be aggressive and get a good understanding of what a lot of these young guys can do.
Right.
Maybe that's wrong to think, and we should play conservative like always. But I'm kind of tired of the base zone coverage that we've done for the last 8 years.
Exactly. And come on, let's face it. What is this league? Is it a running league?
No, it's a
No,
pass league.
it's a passing league. So how do you get at you go after that quarterback and make him as miserable as possible?
Yep. And I think that's that. I don't know if you saw this, and if you haven't, I definitely recommend reading it. But ESPN released this article on the front office and Russell, and how
Mm,
even back in 2016 and 17 they thought he was starting to fall off the cliff.
fall off. Yeah.
And obviously he signed that huge contract at the time, and obviously his new contract's even more. But just kind of interesting hearing what they had to say and how they really didn't believe he could become the quarterback that he wants to become because of his height. And
Right.
once his mobility goes down, it's going to be real tough for him to keep playing that magic magician Russ play that he's done. And going back to last year, there was one play that they highlighted, especially was against Chicago in the 16th game of the season, where he tried to roam out, his little spin move he does out of the pocket, and
Right.
next thing you know, he's 15 yards in the backfield getting sacked by Robert Quinn. So just kind of a really interesting point. And the other interesting thing, real quick, is when they offered to trade Baker to Cleveland for the number one pick, it seemed very possible they would have took Josh Allen. And of course, hindsight's 2020. But looking at it now, I would have loved to have a Josh Allen in a Seahawks jersey.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been. Yeah.
But let's do this real quick in 5 seconds. Score predictions for Week 1.
Yeah, as far as on the line, I would say take the over. I think the line or the over under is 44 and a half. I'd say take over. I don't think the defenses are going to catch up with the offenses. Russ is going to want to come out and try to bury us.
Yeah,
And I think we're going to try to do the same somehow.
yeah.
Spread's about 6.5. I'm okay with that. So if I'm looking at it, I'm thinking 30-23 Denver.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's fair or wrong at all. I'd probably go 35-24.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I'm sitting. But of course, we're going to get another delay of game. So we will restart the timer and we'll head to that fourth quarter, which is, of course, the just kind of the wild card round, or just some random thing to talk about before we close up the show. But like I told you, this is kind of a wild card. And with the NBA just kind of around the corner, I'm going to ask you this question. If you were now the owner of the Seattle NBA team and got your choice out of these four teams to relocate to Seattle,
Okay.
which would you pick? Now, I found these teams from an article this year that said these would be the most likely to relocate. So that's what we're going to go off of.
Okay.
But 1 through 4, you got Memphis, Minnesota, Sacramento, or New Orleans.
Well, selfishly, I want Memphis.
Yeah.
Ja Morant.
Yep.
Bring them to me. I'll take it. I'll
Yep.
take Memphis in a heartbeat. Uh, Sacramento, we got spurned by them, so you know, sour taste
Yeah.
a little bit. Minnesota's kind of unique.
Mm-hmm.
They have a unique young makeup there, but I think Memphis is probably farther along. So I like Memphis. I really do.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Memphis was kind of that first when you see John Morant. I mean, if you have the option to take him, it's hard to pass. The other one was New Orleans. I was kind of going back and forth between those two. Obviously, the 1 and 2 picks from a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, though, I don't trust Zion to actually ever get healthy and be on the court.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and just at least with Ja he's gonna play, and
right. Yeah,
and I they were in the playoffs already, so I think it's a easy. It's not easy, but
it's not.
I would definitely lean towards Memphis myself as well. Um,
And there's no guarantees, like even with Zion, you
no,
know. Um, and again, another big guy that just has the talent in the world, but boy,
hmm
can they stay healthy,
yeah.
Uh,
I guess the real I mean Sacramento I just don't really care about. I like De'Aaron Fox obviously being like living in Kentucky the last few years kind of got to follow
right,
Kentucky basketball and De'Aaron Fox being there, but it's just not they don't build enough around him for me to want Sacramento.
right.
Where I think if you could just bring the whole Memphis organization up to Seattle,
Bring them on. Yeah,
they're figuring out how to build around Ja,
yeah,
and hopefully you can get the uh, a defensive point guard because that seems to be his weakness,
right.
is defense. But he's going to score. He's going to make highlight plays for you, and he's going to bring fans to the arena.
Right.
Which at the end of the day, that's all you really want if you're the owner, is money coming in. And I think Memphis gives you the best chance to bring money and get Seattle basketball really back in a good spot.
Right. Yeah, that was interesting that you brought up the teams because I thought you were going with who would be the player you'd want if you're building an expansion team from
Mm,
scratch. Let's say all of a sudden Silverman says, "Okay, we're going to give out two teams, and it's Las Vegas and Seattle. Go."
yeah.
You know, who would you want to start out the team with? Who seems to be out there that would be wanting to make a change of scenery? Could it be one of the original draft picks that's a little unhappy out there?
I mean, it seems like KD has always said if Seattle got a team, he'd come back.
In a
Um,
heartbeat.
yeah. So it would be tough there. I'm trying to find real quick if I can find something.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this would be it. It's from a long time ago. No, it's gonna be too hard to find in 1 minute. But
Yeah.
I was gonna try and find like players least likely to be protected in an expansion
Oh,
draft and
sure.
kind of get
Yeah.
like, okay, who would you? And maybe this is what we do on one of the other
Another.
episodes, but
Yeah.
like, who would you take in an expansion draft? Because it
Right.
would be interesting to go back and forth and kind of do that. Um, but at the end of the day, I think Memphis is probably that safe pick. If you were to be able to take one of those four, and I
Absolutely.
would have no problem cheering for John Morant in a Sonics uniform.
Right. And as far as Sacramento, they can just go to Las Vegas. That's an easy move.
Yeah, yeah, that would definitely make sense. I think.
I'm trying to push Las Vegas into a team. Well, they're going to get one. So.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to Seattle and Vegas. I think are going to be the next two.
Yeah.
Um, but of course, with that said, that is our time now. Once again, I don't know about you, but I like the speed. I like the pace.
Yeah.
And it keeps our shows right about at the time that we you know get people
Yeah.
to pay attention and watch. So
Exactly.
hopefully
Yeah.
you all enjoy it, and if you don't, let us know. But if you do, keep watching because we do appreciate it. With that said, though, any closing thoughts heading into the weekend?
Go M's against Atlanta. That'll be a fun
Yep.
series. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, Padres right after that. So Juan Soto. That should be a fun day. Of course, football. We
Mm-hmm.
got it. Full slate. We got college and pros now. So, yeah. And then college basketball right around the corner, man.
Yep.
Right around the corner. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
coming
fun
up
time.
fast. It is.
Fun time.
And then Kraken hockey right around the corner
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So
So good time.
lots of good stuff coming up, and plenty more shows to be had. And we'll end the show here. But until then, go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, whatever you feel like doing. And we will see you all in the next episode of Anchors Away.